Yarmul Williams was also known as 051 Young Money Melly, but he became infamously known as Chiraq's Gravedigger. He declared war on his ops after his homie, 051 rapper Lil Mark, was murdered on a bus stop following the release of his song No Competition, where he remixed Lil Durk's song Competition, and started dissing a lot of Durk's BD homies, both dead and alive. The hit team that retaliated against Lil Mark for the disrespect included names that people probably know like King Von, T. Roy, and D. Rose, plus members of the Folly Boys and THF 46, all returned to the scene of the crime to mock him. Durk even joined in on the fun, declaring that the bus stop where Lil Mark was killed a very famous place. As a result, Melly declared war on Durk and OTF. Durk's money and fame kept him relatively safe from Melly's wrath. Unfortunately for him, it couldn't save those he loved the most. Durk's cousins, Newski and Baby D, along with his manager, Chino, all died at the hands of Melly. This is the true story of how Chiraq's Gravedigger became Durk's worst nightmare.
Melly's?
Melly jumped off of the porch, and into the war between 051 and 600, after fellow gang member, T Streets, from 051 was caught lacking. T Streets was sitting in a car at around 12:20 am, on South 57th Street, between LaSalle and Garfield Boulevard, when, M-Thang from 600, approached the passenger side door, and shot him in the face, killing him. This was the first body to drop between the two gangs, but not the last. 3 months later, Melly would get revenge against 600 for T Street's murder, and catch his first body. On February 2, 2012, Melly began his murder spree. 20-year-old Shaquille Rush, nicknamed Shaq, had to take a piss after attending a party on the 5900 block of South Calumet before going home. He went into an alley to pee while his girl waited for him. What Shaq didn't know is that Melly, and his partner in crime 051 Kiddo, had been lurking in the darkness waiting to slide on an op. They ambushed the unsuspecting couple. Shaq was found dead at the scene. The girl he was with was taken to the hospital for treatment because she was grazed by a bullet. Luckily, she survived the Gravedigger's attack. Chiraq's Gravedigger would not strike again for over a year and a half, but he kept his Twitter fingers busy, and stayed active on social media. If you don't know, let me tell you, Melly actually lived in 600's territory during this time. 5909 South Calumet to be exact, which is in the heart of 600's territory. This didn't stop him from mocking 600 on Twitter after killing Shaq. He wrote, laughing out loud, "Shaq was laying next to that garbage can smelling like one." He also mocked Tay Capone, then known as Tay 600, on Twitter too. He wrote, laughing out loud, "Who caught Shaq in the alley with his dick out? Aight." Remember this tweet when we introduced Tay's sister, Mina Red, into our story because Melly even had the balls. Get it balls, he had the balls to tweet to another 600 member, "I'm selling dick, $60 a nut, just come to my crib, 5909 South Calumet." I mean, this nigga Melly was fearless. He tweeted at Manny from 600 saying, "Y'all don't even be outside. I walk through y'all shit every day and go home. No worries bitch." Wow! He walked through 600 like Freddy Krueger after killing Shaq. Wow! No worries bitch. Wow! A recurring theme in our docu-series is that these gangbangers self-snitch about serialized killings of black men, and fight gang wars in the streets of our community while on Twitter, without getting locked up for murder by law enforcement because black lives really don't matter to them, or to black people either. A prime example of this sad fact is an infamous clip of Melly in a car with a female, and a girl a couple of years younger than me, joking about killing Shaq from 600.
Melly's?
Shorty, come up in that bitch. You talking? You don't know who I am? You know who I am?
I got my dick.
You scared of the dark?
No.
I'm one of them type of guys that be in the dark waiting for you when you gotta go pee at night. And I just get you, and you don't never come back to your parents again. You hear me? Then your TT ain't gonna be able to save you. Your daddy, He gonna be crying so like, man, she don't got nothing to do with me.
Chiraq's Gravedigger started giving Durk nightmares on May 31, 2014. Just 2 months after the murder of Lil Mark at the bus stop, and just 2 days after signing a record deal with his cousin, MacArthur Swindle, better known as Newski, or New, was murdered while he waited in a parked car on the 700 block of East 87th Street for Durk to buy some shoes. While Durk was inside the store, Melly and Drilla from 051 approached the side windows of the car from 2 different directions, and shot Newski multiple times. He tried to drive away with bullet holes in him, but crashed the car into another nearby store. Melly and Drilla ran back to their car where the getaway driver, Pre-Boy, sped away. Durk heard the gunfire from inside the store and ran outside. He broke down in tears when he saw his cousin drenched in blood.
Less than a year following Newski's murder, the Gravedigger would take the life of another person really close to Durk, his manager Chino. One of Durk's homies from the Trigger Happy Family 46 gang, THFTP, made a diss record called Bus Stop, following the murders of Lil Mark in March 2014, and his younger brother, Tuka. Tuka was murdered on a bus stop in January 2011, starting Tukaville's war with O'Block. Durk's manager, Chino, was a member of THF46 and appeared in the video for the diss record. On March 27, 2015, Uchenna Ajana, Chino's government name, was sitting in a car in the 8400 block of South Stony Island Boulevard, at 1:50 a.m., waiting for his food from Stony Sub. Someone must have given up his location because Mellie shot Chino multiple times through the side window of his car, including a headshot, killing him. A few hours before his death, Chino and Durk had a meeting with Chicago Bulls star, Joakim Noah, to talk about anti-violence initiatives. The day before, Chino and Durk had been at Noah's downtown apartment where a picture was taken, and posted on Instagram. Durk's ops were also active on social media around this time. 051 Melly and his homeboy, Mubu Crump, were relentless when trolling Durk. Melly wrote, Durk steady talking about, new, was up next, same with L.A. Capone. They got savage turned down like Lil Rob. L.A. Capone was an up-and-coming rapper, who was the getaway driver when D. Rose and C-Day killed popular 051 Young Money gang member Antonio, Fathead Davis. Durk was really close with L.A. Melly was really close to Fathead. Mubu Crump wrote, I would never do my cousin like Durk did Newski. NLMB, bever leave my brother. They would have had to kill me and my cousin. Especially if he getting whacked for my rap shit, but hey, what do I know? Crump also went back to the scenes of the murders to mock Durk, like Durk mocked 051 Young Money, following the murder of Lil Mark.
Them left Newski. They left his ass right here. You feel me? They left his ass up here on folks them tweaking. Buying some shoes. Y'all see real niggas be up here though. Nigga play me up here on folks this deals with bitch on the news. I look like Newski. Hit his ass up right here on Pat. I'm with the nigga they did. He don't want to be on camera though. Hit his ass up right here on Pat. You hit? They fucked my boy up. Right here, you feel? Historic events. Y'all know I'm gonna bring y'all around this shit. Historic events. Wish a nigga would like me, boy. I look like Newski. He ran into this though. He ran into the children's place, died like a bitch on post now. Goof ass nigga. Nigga ain't gonna, but do I look like Newski? Fuck you talking about? And I'm about to take y'all. Matter of fact, we about to go get a Cheeto burger. We at my favorite spot, y'all. I just ordered my food. Hey, y'all got that order for Newski? Chino burger. Chino burger. Yeah. Y'all got it? Hey, ready? Oh, thank you. Oh, man. Hey, this motherfucker focus as hell, man. Y'all, this shit ain't done, man. Y'all put this shit back on the grill, man. This shit disgusting, man. Get this shit together, man. For real, this shit bogus as hell, man. Straight up, man. That shit nasty as hell.
Following the murders of his cousin, Newski, and his manager, Chino, Durk allegedly put $150,000 on Melly's head. Yarmul Williams was born on November 19, 1991. The reason Melly was able to move around Chicago the way he did, despite the fact that one of the biggest rappers in the city put a bounty on his life, was because Melly was a smooth criminal from a family that had strong connections to a lot of different gangs. Melly's father was also named Yarmul Williams. He was a GD. His mother's name was Angie. He grew up in the Calumet Building, also known as Randolph Towers, with his younger brother, Wu, and his sister, Kenja. Randolph Towers was the headquarters of the Beaties. Melly's stepdad, Wu's father, was named James Golden. His nickname is Fido. He was a BD. He went to prison when Melly was just 3 years old, and Wu was 6 months old. He was sentenced to life after catching 4 bodies during the course of an armed robbery. He was one of the big guys in the BD building along with OTF Varney's dad, Big Varney, who basically ran the building's drug operation with his twin brother, Varma. They were known as the BD twins or Bentley twins because one of them drove a Bentley Arnage and the other drove a Bentley Azor. Lil Varney represents Lamron 300 and is a founding member of OTF. Lil Reese's dad, Big Reese, was a big-time player from Randolph Towers too. Chief Keef's uncle, Big Keef, was also a BD in the building with a name for himself. So, Melly was a BD because of where he grew up. He never switched sets, even though most of the members of 051 Young Money are Mickey Cobras, and their main ops are BDs. Basically, Melly was a renegade BD member who considered himself BDK or BD Killer. Melly and his brother Wu were actually friends with a lot of guys growing up that he would later go to war against. Lil Rob from Lamron 300 was his cousin. That means Melly kept his gangbanging so real that he would even diss his own blood relative when dissing Dead Ops after 051 Arrow killed Lil Rob in 2013. Remember Melly wrote to Tay 600. Newski and L.A. Capone got their savage turned down like Lil Rob. Melly was mocking 600 and 300 about his own cousin's death when he wrote that. He was also cousins with the twins from TYMB, Courtney and Court Eyes, infamously suspected of killing Tuka from STL, EBT, along with O.D. Perry. Courtney recently claimed in an interview, after he was released from prison, that those reports from us, and others, are not true because he was locked up in jail when Tuka died. Wu's father, Fido, had a brother called G-Slim. G-Slim took his role as an uncle to Melly and his siblings seriously, especially after their mother died of cancer at the age of 40. G-Slim was one of the founders of NLMB, a feared gang known for rappers like G-Herbo and Lil Bibby. Another uncle, Jeffrey Campbell, better known as Kurt Mack, was a GD. Kurt Mack was a member of Mubu, like Melly's homie, Crump, and rapper, King Louie. THF Rome nearly killed King Louie when he shot him in the head. He murdered Melly's uncle, Kurt Mack, along with OTF twin from Lamron, in 2017. We report his gang ties to show Melly was that nigga. Like I said, he was a smooth criminal, meaning he was respected in the streets, and the women loved him, including King Von's ex-girlfriend, Mina Red. We're going to let her tell you about this love triangle, but obviously Melly lived in his op's head, rent-free. King Von must have been going crazy in jail. If you watched our previous video titled, Why King Von Went to Jail on Prom Night, then you already know he was arrested in June 2014, after Mina Red's prom. He was charged with the murder of Malcolm Stuckey a couple of months later, in August. Mina Red was on house arrest fighting gun charges from prom night the remainder of 2014. Meanwhile, C-Day and Rondo No. 9 were charged with the murder of Javon Boyd, while he was driving a cab, in February 2014. 3 months later in May 2014, Melly killed Durk's cousin, Newski, and people like Durk, King Von, and C-Day's brother, E-Day, accused Tay 600 of snitching. Mina Red was facing gun charges and didn't snitch on her brother's gang. Now, his gang was accusing him of snitching. Did they accuse him of snitching because of Mina's relationship with Melly? Or did Mina fall into Melly's arms because 600 betrayed her brother? We report. You decide.
We didn't date. I talked to him though, like, and that was my people, like, he was my real friend, homie, like, whatever, that was my dog too, like, and I'm a female at the end of the day, and that's how I always felt. Like I said in the beginning, I ain't never been rah-rah. I ain't never been the type of female to say fuck ooh, or we smoking this. I don't do none of that. I ain't never did none of that. I ain't never confused myself from being what I was, which is a female. Like, when I messed with Melly, it wasn't when I was with 600. Like, it wasn't when I was running with 600. I messed with Melly after 600 turned on my brother. Like, it wasn't on no vengeance shit, because Melly ain't even never disrespected me to ask me to set nobody up or do no weird shit. Like, it was, me and Melly was friends. Like, we had a real, like, bond. That was my real homie. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to fuck with the ops. No, it wasn't like that.
So you know what, your brother and shit, like, was you ever worried about, like, getting into him? Like, did you ever think, like, you can't trust him, or did you ever think about what your brother think about?
Before I even ever got around him, me and him was already locked in. Like, it wasn't really like, we ain't never had to say it, because him being who he was, trusting me to come around him or know certain spots, I knew it wasn't none, because it ain't like I couldn't, like, I didn't know where I was going or where I was just at. Like, he ain't mad. He showed me he trusted me, so I opened the door for him. Like, that ain't, I don't know, I was just never worried about that. But as far as my brother, like, when my brother heard about me talking to him, my brother was in New York. My brother didn't come back home from New York for 3 months because he was so mad at me. He just couldn't understand why you do that. He was mad as hell, but like, when I talked to him, he still ain't understand, but I'm his sister, so he knew he couldn't do nothing about it.
So y'all was cool up until the point that he passed away?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Another thing I seen, y'all was on live, like, you, Caleb B, I don't remember the other girl's name, I think it was somebody related to her or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you speak on, like, how all that happened? Was y'all ever cool? Like, what happened with that?
Me and Caleb was cool.
He started dating my sister when I was in jail, so that was like, you feel me, the introduction of me, like, having that shit him and my sister, like, not even really dating, they had started messing around when she was in jail, when I was in jail, my bad. So that was like when I had to, like, really hear about that, and, like, yeah, what the fuck can you do? You can't really let him know whatever you plotting, you can't let him in on it, you know what I'm saying? And this shorty, he one of the top dogs over there, so it's like, you gotta play your role right when you was dealt the circumstances I was, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a real savage, knowing where you lay your head and knowing how you move and all that. He knew my low and all that 6 months before I got out of jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you come on, whatever it is, you gotta be on that in your own man. You know what I'm saying? But what was respectable about Yarmil was nothing never came behind it. Like, I could have been smoked. I could have got backdoored. It's a lot of that I could have had. A lot of shit happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, some shit could have happened to me. Nothing never happened to me. You know what I'm saying? Nothing never happened to me. I ain't gonna lie, like, nothing never happened to me. So when a nigga, like, that was some real shit. You know what I'm saying?